The ultimate in passive preamps. No preamp at all! That situation is going to change sooner than later, I hope. So, the Tiger I rebuilt and roughed in the bias. It runs just a little bit warmer than the other Tiger. They're both pretty cold right now. This place is kind of cool. I've got to, I'll have to touch them both up when the weather gets a little warmer and the house gets a little warmer. I have some projects going, but I don't really have anything to report. One little project took my time this week was getting this little box going here. And I bought this for my parents for their TV to get audio out of their TV and into their stereo right next to the TV. Kind of a boomboxy type thing. And the TV didn't have any kind of regular audio output on it. All it had was this digital output on it. So I bought this box, thought it would work. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. And it took me a lot of research and scrambling around to find out that it had a different standard than PCM. This is a PCM type unit. I forget the other standard offhand. If I can remember, I'll put it in here. But this is a typical unit you'd use for that kind of function. A TV that's only got a digital output. Normally you can plug this in and get your audio outputs out of it. Well, it didn't work. I had to buy a different one. It wasn't PCM, it was something... Anyway, nearly identical looking box, just a different standard. I think there's actually 3 standards. I think there's actually a Dolby standard or something too. Some kind of digital Dolby standard that's actually a 3rd standard. So the moral of the story is before you run out and buy one of these little boxes for a TV that's only got a digital output and you need audio out, make darn sure it's going to work. You have to determine what kind of audio out your TV has. That's the big moral, and they don't all have the same kind of audio out in digital. Like I said, the most common one's PCM, but they're not all PCM. So I got an opportunity to make use of this little box. That's kind of excess because it didn't work for my parents. It's laying around. Too late to return. By the time I got done with my parents and back and all, it was too late. Well, I've got a cable going from here to my TV. My TV's in a different location, but I want to get audio from my TV back to the closet here, where I got my audio closet. It's kind of in disarray, obviously, right now. So, I could utilize another cable I have run between the two. It's a real horsey, it's mostly a speaker gauge type cable, you know, it's, if I could find it, it's basically 3-conductor. I have another cable I could have used, but I kind of want to save it in case I ever want to put a central channel speaker by the TV. I want to leave that wire for that. So this end I just had to find adapters for. The other end I had to solder an end on. And my TV here doesn't seem to have any kind of output at all for digital audio out, PCM or whatever. But my little iView box does. And so I got a RCA connector, and I had to solder the tip of this RCA connector, and that's what's getting to my next story here, to make it permanent. I may actually chop that off, put a regular RF connector on it, and then use adapters. It's kind of not totally proper, but actually it's pretty good. My ground is crimped rather than soldered because it's aluminum shielding on that RG cable. What's that human talking to his camera for? What's that human doing babbling around? So to kneel underneath the TV and solder that RCA tip, connector tip on, I needed a portable soldering iron. I guess I could have unplugged my iron and gotten the cord out, or probably had not looked close enough actually. But I decided to use my butane soldering iron I bought a long time ago, and I've never used it before. It's a real cheapo Chinese thing, and I thought it was kind of a joke. And then when I received it and looked at it, I go, oh, this thing is really a joke. So I never used it. It sat on the counter there for a long time. Brand new, no heat, stains on it or anything. Because I guess I never used it. Well, I used it for that job, and man, this thing works like a charm. And it was cheap. These things tend to be very expensive. Butane soldering torches tend to be expensive. And this thing does have some cheapness to it. The worst thing about it is the gas regulation. The nicest thing about it, it's got a built-in sparker. Only the really premium ones have that. So for a discount unit to have all these features, and it's easy as pie. Shoots the flame up there. In no time you can get this whole top thing glowing red. And if I want, I can already make it go totally catalytic. The low point is regulation. I'm going to turn it down to a reasonable amount here and let it just go catalytic on you. You can actually blow the flame out. And the butane will find the catalytic element and start burning catalytically, if that's the proper way to say it. And actually it heats the element a little bit better because the heat's more further up the tip. You know, it's inside and further up. The flame looks impressive, but it almost steals from the catalytic element when the flame's going. And it concentrates all the heat around the bottom. So you let it do that for a while and get it all warmed up. But ultimately it's nice to blow it out and let it burn catalytically. I wonder how much CO it generates doing this. I'd like to test my CO, install a new CO detector. I don't know if it really works. That's probably going to be the subject of a future video. Anyway, it was cheap. I'm going to see if I can find it because I don't really know where I bought this at this point. Like I said, it's been sitting around for a year or two. Beauty. And it's got a steel-coated tip. And it came with like 4 tips. I put the pure metal tip in. It's the only, or rather chisel tip in. It's the only chisel tip it gave. The other 3 tips are all conical, which are only good for point-to-point soldering around integrated circuits for all I'm concerned. Everything else, you know, the chisel's 99% of my soldering.